Hello everyone, we are Group 4 and following is our presentation on our course project for IMT 575C. The title of our project is Detection of DGA Domains. We have Divya, Mayuresh, Kshitij, Soma and myself Devika in this group. So this is a roadmap of what we are going to cover in our presentation. We'll walk you through the data and tools that we have used, the block diagram of our model. In the implementation, we have included various aspects such as feature engineering, billing, and the algorithms and tools that we have used to ultimately design and implement our model. And in closing, we will talk about challenges and risk mitigation strategies. Coming to our problem statement and some general requirements, we had to design a model to detect whether a fully qualified domain name or URL is DGA or benign. Before getting into more details, let us clarify what DGA is. It stands for Domain Generating Algorithm. So basically, they are algorithms that are commonly seen in various families of malware that are frequently used to attack computer systems and networks. So this model had to be implemented using REST API. It had to be highly scalable and have minimum response time and should also include a billing component to track and charge every request. Our dataset consisted of a CSV file of approximately a million DNS addresses that were labeled as either DGA or benign. For example, the URL google.com was labeled as benign. The dataset was also roughly balanced and consisted of 50% DGA and 50% benign domain names. Now coming on to our methods and tools, we selected AWS Cloud as a platform as our system had to be highly available and scalable. So for that, we used AWS managed services as much as possible and it proved to be really helpful for us. Some of the services that we used were Lambda, API Gateway, S3 Bucket, CloudWatch, SageMaker, and we also extensively used the XGBoost algorithm. For coding, we used Python programming language and mainly Jupyter notebooks for prediction and training our model. Next, we come to a block diagram which will be explained by Kshitij.
Now we will talk about the architecture of this model. In this architecture, the details user need to provide are authentication URL details as payload, and user can expect a response as benign or DGA for its respective URLs. The uh, the API gateway upon authentication calls Lambda, which invokes SageMaker where model is deployed. The model or artifact is then loaded from S3 bucket to the endpoint. Finally, the user gets a response based on the URLs if it is benign or DGA URL. We have ensured that we train our models on large instance, but for deployment we have used medium instance to reduce our overall cost. For training purposes, we have stored the label data in S3 bucket, which is loaded into SageMaker for model training and building. CloudWatch is connected to SageMaker and Lambda that provides information about the compute resources in the process. Finally, we have a provision that if any additional data is loaded into S3 bucket, then it will trigger the model training and endpoint deployment so that our model can improve over time.
Feature engineering is the process of using domain knowledge to extract features from raw data via data mining techniques. These features are used to improve the performance of the machine learning algorithms. In our model, we also have used few such features to improve the performance of our machine learning algorithms. Let's look into our features. We have 1 million domain names, including DJ and benign domain names, to train and test our model. To prepare our data, we first have removed the top level domain names from the fully qualified domain names to extract only the domain names. For example, if it is the fully qualified domain name is www.google.com, then it will only give us a Google part. Next, we have encoded all the characters of the domain names into a vector of integers of maximum length of 64. Then we have counted consecutive consonants, number of vowels, number of digits in the domain names. We also have calculated the entropy of the domains to see how much of total information the domain name contains. Then we have created a data frame that contains columns including the features and the integers that encode the domain name. Finally, we have created training and test data by splitting the data frame rows into 80-20 ratio. Now we will look into our billing and API key implementation. We implemented the billing API using two endpoints backed by one AWS Lambda that writes to our DynamoDB. We did not use the inbuilt AWS billing functionality since it has a 24 hours or more lag time. The first endpoint is a predict endpoint. User sends a request with its own predict API key and the URL it needs prediction for, and the predict lambda sends a response back with the same URL and whether the URL is DJ or not. At the same time, the predict lambda writes to DynamoDB an entry to a dictionary with the predict API key as the key and the count of how many times the user has called the predict API as a value. For billing, there are two API endpoints. The first billing API endpoint is the API keys endpoint. Whenever the user makes a request to the endpoint, the Lambda reads the dictionary from the DynamoDB and sends an array of all dictionary keys, which are the predict API keys that was received earlier. The second billing API endpoint is billing. User sends a request to the billing endpoint with the predict API key. The Lambda reads the dictionary from DynamoDB, and from the dictionary, reads the count for the given predict API key and returns the pair of predict API key and count.
So let's talk about the data science part of the project. Uh, Data science means that we use the data to gain meaningful insights and make predictions. We decided to use XGBoost algorithm, which is a combination of several other machine learning algorithms. It includes boosting, gradient, trees, and classification. And we would not be going over the maths of these algorithms because it is way too complicated to fit in a short video. But we would only look from a high level how these algorithms work. So classification. In machine learning and statistics, classification is the problem of identifying to which of a set of categories or a subpopulation a new observation belongs. In our case, it would be to classify the fully qualified domain names or FQDN as DGA or benign. It is a supervised learning method, which means we have labeled data to train our model. For every vector of features, we have a corresponding class label in the training dataset. An algorithm that implements classification, especially in a concrete implementation, is known as a classifier. The term classifier sometimes also refers to the mathematical function implemented by a classification algorithm that maps into data to our category. The classifier predicts the probability of a particular example belonging to a specific class, and we use a threshold value to assign examples to that class depending on our requirement. For this project, we had used a threshold value of 0.5. Let's talk about trees. The tree-based learning uses a decision tree as a predictive model to go from observations about an item that are represented in the branches to conclusion about that item's target value that is represented in the leaves. Tree models where the target variable can take a discrete set of values are called classification trees, which would be useful in our case. In these tree structures, leaves represent the class labels and branches represent conjunctions of features that lead to those class labels. In decision analysis, a decision tree can be used to visually and explicitly represent decisions and for decision making. It uses Gini coefficients to make splits in the dataset. Decision trees are great for interpretation as we can see where the trees are split and how our data is being split. Moreover, decision trees work very well for non-linear data where linear models cannot work. Random forest is an extension of decision trees. It's a bootstrapping method in which we build many trees to reduce overfitting. Okay, boosting. In machine learning, boosting is an ensemble meta-algorithm for primarily reducing bias and also variance. Boosting is based on the question which was posed by Kearns and Valiant around 20-30 years ago. Can a set of weak learners create a single strong learner? So a weak learner is defined to be a classifier that is only slightly correlated with a true classification. In contrast, a strong learner is a classifier that is arbitrarily well correlated with a true classification. We use a large number of weak learners that boost the prediction and adapt to be a strong learner. The subsequent learners are fitted on the residuals of the previous learners. Misclassified input data gain a higher weight and examples that are classified correctly lose weight. Thus, future weak learners focus more on the examples that previous weak learners had misclassified. Gradient descent is a very interesting topic. Gradient descent is a first order iterative optimization algorithm for finding a local minimum of a differentiable function. To find a local minimum of a function using gradient descent, we take steps proportional to the negative of the gradient of the function at the current point. The basic concept is that we take a differentiable cost function. We find partial derivatives of cost function with respect to the coefficients and keep changing the value of coefficients. Our goal is to reach the global minima of the cost function so that we can get the lowest cost from our model. In the picture also, we can see that we want to take a path that makes reduction in the cost. So we have said that we have used a XGBoost model in our project. So let's talk about it. XGBoost stands for Extreme Gradient Boosting. Its origin lies in learning theory and AdaBoost. We did some hyperparameter tuning in our model and got 98% accuracy in our training dataset, which was a tremendous achievement. Although the accuracy on the test data was lesser than that. XGBoost is a very effective algorithm. It's often used in machine learning competitions. It takes the advantage of all the machine learning algorithms that we have just talked about. It amalgamates their features to give us a very good prediction. So we trained our XGBoost model in AWS SageMaker, saved the model artifacts in S3 bucket, and deployed our model. We passed an FQDN or fully qualified domain name through AWS Gateway to a Lambda function. The feature engineering was done in the Lambda function, and the Lambda function further invoked the SageMaker model endpoint. In the picture, you can see that we passed www.google.com and asked if this FQDN is DG or benign. Our model said false, which is this FQDN is DGA and is not DGA and it's benign. So our model is doing a very good work.
With 1 million rows at a 50:50 ratio for DGA and benign. Currently, we have used around 32 DGA algorithms ranging from Banjori, Chinard, Fauber, Padcrypt, WAFTrack, and so on to generate a list of DGA domains. We could have generated more DGA domains from our wider DGA families. Also, benign domains could have been procured from reliable sources such as Google API and other sources where we need to pay for services to get an exhaustive list of valid domain names. For the sake of the project, which was done as a part of the university course, we are satisfied with not allocating extra budget in that area. Since the DGA domain names is relatively small, we also intend to collect more DGA data and add some additional side information such as WHOIS information to improve the classification accuracy and differentiate the DGA families using a multi-class classifier. Lastly, we have focused on TLDs, that is top level domains, and cleaned any subdomains prior to training our model. So our model does not take into account for any FQDN with subdomains. However, this is something that can be tweaked in our code directly as well without any prior data pre-processing. Exploring other algorithms for a better trade-off between accuracy and cost efficiency. So we tried to experiment with logistic regression and XGBoost in our local as well as on AWS. We believe that there is a huge scope to improve the model by making use of n-gram features and deploying deep learning and CNN based algorithms. For instance, single layer LSTMs, that is long short term memory, or bi-LSTMs are which are bidirectional LSTMs, are known to be good for sequential data such as domain text in this case. And I feel that we missed an opportunity for us to experiment with DGA detection using AWS deep learning frameworks. Talking about other cloud platforms employing machine learning, we explored logistic regression using Azure ML Studio. However, we did not use any advanced tuning such as AutoML, which employs sophisticated featureization and incur a high cost for these services. Instead, we ran manually coded hyperparameter tuning jobs to find the best parameters for our XGBoost model on AWS for our training dataset. In the future, we could explore other cloud platforms such as Google Cloud Platform or Azure if they provide better model selection. Scaling out across regions is another important factor to take into account. Right now, the system sits in only one region, and to increase the SLA to 99.999%, 4 nines, we would need to deploy it in multiple regions. Horizontal scaling offers more room to grow and has a better cost efficiency instead of vertical scaling. And we would create a multi-site model and use Amazon Route 53 DNS service and elastic load balancing to route the traffic between various regions to a single endpoint in AWS cloud environment. Talking about security in the future, we could take a different approach to authentication and data security. Only using API keys is not enough, as basic API key implementation doesn't support authentication without any additional code or services. So maybe we could employ best practices in this area by using multiple authentication methods such as OAuth or short-lived tokens and so on. Talking about next about the budget, most of us were exploring AWS services for the very first time, and we got a kind of a sticker shock when deploying our model on SageMaker and keeping the endpoints open for evaluation. And our team incurred AWS charges around $210 for the entire project. Here you don't see the $50 credit that we applied. We had to change from ml.t2.medium to ml.m4.xlarge instance with the increased size of our training data set, because with the earlier instance the kernel just kept dying on us. Also, what we found surprising and not so great was the fact that there is a default throttling limit of 1000 calls per month on API calls you can make in the free tier. While testing the model, calls were made to the predict API, and after a while an error of maximum limit reached occurred, and was really not very intuitive to find and disable this throttling limit in API gateway, and we had to do some digging around. Eventually we were able to resolve it, but it could have been made more apparent at the start itself in terms of some documentation. If the system is kept open for 24 hours, it should incur a cost of around $40 to $50 a day. Talking about the ethics, as high school students, we have been taught about ethical considerations in any project we do, and we have made sure that we have followed the best practices in ethics and given attributions wherever applicable. Also, we have made use of publicly available data sources, and there are no privacy concerns as such because no personally identifiable information was captured. Talking about weaponization of data science, detecting DGA domains is a major challenge in itself in security areas. And in this project, we have paid little attention to malware which imitate the pattern of normal domain names by, say, concatenating pseudo randomly chosen English dictionary words to generate domain names and achieve the effect of concealment and confrontation. So our model generalizes well to most DGA families, but may overfit a few and perform poorly against positively classifying more advanced DGA algorithms such as MatchSnoo or Supperbox that use English or non-English language like words. So that is an area of concern. Next is the adversarial learning, which is a field in machine learning that deals with generating data samples that are crafted to cause misclassification by a targeted machine learning model. For instance, DeepDGA is the first work that applied adversarial learning to the field of DGA detection by using GANs, that is generative adversarial networks, to generate domain names that appear as if they were sampled from benign domain list of Alexa top 1 million domains. So for such data science projects, there are certain strategies for risk mitigation. We can keep retraining the models periodically with new training data sets. Include a cybersecurity expert in our team ranks to safeguard the system against such attacks, or setting up methodologies and environment for success by using development principles and strategies for managing and mitigating those risks, and setting realistic expectations and providing a guide to building successful teams, because in the end it's all about the people and the technology interacting with each other. Finally, we would like to take this opportunity and thank Professor Todd for guiding us throughout this project, and as well as to all the students for their support. Thank you for listening to us, and feel free to ask any questions to the project team members, and we will be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much.